lady Jossie. As you guys see, that is not Big G that you all see in that other pane. He did not shave his head and grow a beard that quickly. I have a special guest host with me this week, Mr. Ron Blackwell. He's a financial services specialist, and we just going to just chop it up a lot today and rap and get some advice and just rap like we do. But welcome, Ron. Thanks for coming to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me, Josh. It's a pleasure.
Oh, it's a pleasure. He's so nice. Guys, we were just talking. We just gonna jump right in it. We were talking about the big news of the week on the internet. Our guy, everybody's guy, Derek Jackson, and his Usher sob story saga that started. I want to say it was like last Friday or Saturday. I know Sunday he did his first video, and then did the video with the wife Monday, and then she did another video. Well, he did one, and then she did another one, and she's done like three, and he's done like three. But what's your whole take on this mess? That's what it is as of right now. What's your whole take on it?
I mean, well, if I can be honest, like I never was really like big up on him. I kind of knew of him and knew about him. Mm-hmm. But as we were talking about earlier, like, people saying he was pandering and all this kind of stuff. But the deeper I look at it, it's like I feel like he was kind of talking about himself. When he talked about men and how he was bashing guys and all that kind of stuff. He was describing the kind of person he is. He's a narcissist. Right. And it's like it's really funny how all of a sudden all the cheating came out when he had a book get ready to come out about healing together. Right. How to heal together and not hurt each other.
Every time he can say a word, and don't forget to buy the book. And I cheated on my wife, and the Lord said, and don't forget to buy the book. I was like, oh, okay. So we just don't stop with the pandering. We just gonna go ahead and keep it going. And
I mean, it's sad, man. Like you put that woman out there and you put all your business in the street, all for the sake of selling the book, and you don't know what kind of we don't know what kind of relationship they had. You know what I mean? So that could be damage to her. You know what I'm saying? Like then now people are bashing her for coming on TV with her with a hat on, and now her hat was the armor of God.
And the shield.
It was all the helmet. It was all crazy to me. I'm like, what are we doing here?
The thing is, at this point, I don't even know if this publicity is good publicity for the book. I think because the people that were still on his side, like the more they kept talking about it, the more she kept talking. I think it just did more damage than just let the initial come out, say this happened years ago and we made it through it. That's literally all they had to say. This happened a few years ago or whatever, and me and her worked through this. Now buy my book. But no. You got to come out, do a whole interview. Then you got to bring her to do an interview. Then you got to do an assessment of you and her's interview in the third party. And then she has to do it in another interview. And then she has to do another interview explaining her club. Like, it was too much. It's
weird. It's the gift and the curse of social media.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like there was nobody really there to assess and do damage control. Like how regular television people that have somebody in PR. Look, in a statement, let it go. Well, no, he just kept going on and on. I think it's that need for attention. You know what I mean? Like that desire for attention. That's the reason why he kept making videos.
And you couldn't just take the L of being the bad guy. Like you couldn't just mess up, say I screwed up, I did something bad. No, you could have left it at that. But no, you keep further explaining it. And then he blamed it partially on being like a God-fearing man. Like it was weird. It just turned into, if I wasn't in this relationship and then God wouldn't have made me. And I'm like, what? And then it kind of just goes back and negates everything he said in the past. Like it's just been a whole shit show. Excuse my language, but
that's very appropriate. That's exactly what it was. Like,
and then she comes on, and like I said, she caught a lot of flack because of her attire and how she came on. And I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely kind of critiquing her outfit.
I know you had some jokes. I know you did.
Well, my thing is, if you've already embarrassed me and you've already said to the world, I'm shitting on my wife, I'm gonna come shit on the world. Like when y'all see me, bitch, I'm gonna have Beyonce's whole glam. My weave gonna be down in here. Y'all gonna be wondering why. Like what? No, but right. She came in there looking like she just cleaned the bathroom, and he was like, "Come do a video." And then she tried to change it up and describe her whole, like you said, the shield of armor and her
armor of God. Yeah, she tried to get that.
Sis, that's not what you had on. You had on a hat because your hair wasn't done, and he told you to come downstairs. Miss me with all that armor bullshit. Like, because if that was it, you would have came down in your shroud and your prayer robe and all of that. Like, stop. Like, miss me with all of that. But I mean, and to me, he didn't handle her properly. I think it's been so much, like you said, he's a narcissist. It's been so much about him and how he looks.
Mm-hmm.
At no point did he care
Mm-hmm.
of how she looked. Like, because I would have been like, baby, shut up. Just stop. You don't first of all, I don't even want the world to see you, let alone put you out here. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even want to put you further out there to be more embarrassed.
Right. And then see, the thing about that is, for him to say he's a God-fearing man, a God-fearing man protects his wife. So to even put her in that position and then to further expose her is not protecting your wife. So how can you say you're God-fearing when all this is really about you and your book and sales? Like, you're not even covering her. So that made no sense either. But
literally, like, watching like some of his old stuff, he literally talked about the man like that cheated for years, and why would he do that? Why would he get in a monogamous relationship if he's going to cheat? Like, he's literally wearing down himself because he's been with her for years.
yeah.
So she didn't force him to marry you. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, your credibility. Like, how do you bounce back from this? Like, are there people that still fans and believe that, okay, he made a mistake or they got their marriage back together? Like,
this, like I said, to me, it's all strange to me. Like him and like the other guy, like Kevin Samuels guy. We're not going to get into him, but like, I mean, but as practically speaking, they're entertainers, right?
Absolutely.
If I want relationship advice, I'm not calling his show. I'm not listening to Derek Jackson. You know what I mean? I'm literally going to go to somebody that has like some credibility behind their name. So for me, it's entertaining. And if you take them, either one of them seriously or too seriously, you gotta look at yourself.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't understand how anybody could look at either of them and think that these guys just have relationships down pat. Like, it's right. Like, and there's been certain things, of course, that Derek Jackson has said that was okay. It was not just pandering; it had some truth to it, but just his delivery to me. And again, it's a lot of it comes with the messenger and it all. I think if you combine both of them together, Kevin Samuels and Derek Jackson, we would have a great personality somewhere. Somebody would be like the perfect guru to talk this stuff, because they're both on opposite ends of the spectrum, it seems. And then it's just like, it really definitely seems like it's just a money thing. It seems like they really don't care what they're putting out there for people to take and ingest. And they're just doing it for money and popularity at this point.
And the thing about it is that the people take it. You know what I mean? Like the controversy and the nonsense sells. Like Derek Jackson's approach and Kevin said, like, they both, like you said, they both have truth in it, right? But the truth not spoken in love is just brutality, right? So Kevin Samuels comes off as just being brutal. There's some honest stuff in there, right? There's some truth in it, but to me, he seems sassy. Like, to me, it sounds like two females talking to me, right? It's like he be sassing women to me. But there's still some truth in what's being said, right? Like Derek Jackson, even his pandering and male bashing, I'm not a fan of that, but there's some truth in it.
Yeah. So, I think he says things that we're used to women hearing from other women.
Right.
And so to hear a man say it kind of is like, what's your agenda? What you here for? You know what I mean? That's how I'm going to look at it. Like, wait a minute. What
I wish Vic was here. I know Vic was. I really wish Vic was here for this one.
Vic was, we were all over Derek. I think we're probably going to try to put together a whole show based around those guys.
Yeah, I definitely want to tune in for that one.
Because, I mean, again, I've seen so many, and then again, the internet, social media has made it so easy for someone to just put their opinion out there and become literally famous because of your opinions, because people like your opinion. And that's what happened with both of them. And now Derek Jackson is 3-4 books in. He's got games and he's got all this income and stuff. And to me, now you've just kind of compromised it all because of some actions that got out from years ago. Like, damn, if you gonna cheat and you got away with it for years, like, dog, at some point, just stop.
Yeah, I mean, but at some point, you know, when things are done in false pretenses, the truth will always manifest itself at some point. So the real him showed up, right? Like, we all saw the act, and the women bought it. Oh, he's great, and the brothers, we was like, man, nigga, shut up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this dude is a pick me, right? And we all saw it, but now the truth is he's really exposed. Like, he made a lot of money off of it, but it was narcissism on another level, because he literally was bashing himself, and ladies bought it, right?
Well,
he was just,
video of him critiquing his video in third person.
That was the weirdest thing I ever seen. Yeah, Derek Jackson cheated. What? Dude, like, what did we? Yeah.
Yeah, so that should let you know. But again, he's just trying to bounce back in some way. I think he needs to, at this point, lay low for a while. People forgive over time, especially if you didn't do anything like heinous, like hurt no kids or nothing like that. People forgive. If he just reinvents himself, come back, chill out. Don't be so hard on the men initially. When you come back, you'll be fine. Like, people will slowly go back to, because I think that he's lost a lot of his followers though. Like, I've seen so many people that were disappointed in him. And again, I don't think it's just cheating, because people get over people cheating all the time. I think it was more him putting down cheaters and bashing men that cheated so much that made it worse. I think if he had never said anything about your Kevin Harts and your Charlemagne's and whomever he's spoken about that has cheated before,
the pastor, yeah.
Right. If you wouldn't have said those things about them, this would have just been, oh, he got caught cheating, and it would have been moved on by the next day. But here we are a week later, still seeing memes and videos and stuff, like, because of the platform that you put yourself on. And that's why I say you have to be very careful with the things that you say online, because they never disappear. People have been pulling up old videos and old stats and stuff like that. So it just never disappears. But
yeah, once it's on the internet, it's out there, right? And you can't take it back. You can't delete it. And like you said, like, him bashing other people, and then now you're in the same position. It's the pot calling the kettle black, right? And you got to be careful with that, man. But I think also, you try to build yourself up. There was no humility in him. You know what I mean? It was always you pointing the finger. Instead of trying to help a brother that's cheating, you wanted to bash all them men, right? Now you want somebody to help you. How ironic is that?
That's
crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like instead of bashing the men, why not ask the men a question? Like, bro, like, why do we keep doing this?
Why are you doing it? What made you do this? What was
why
this?
Are we more disciplined as men, right? Like, why can't we exhibit more self-control, right? Like, we always wonder why women are bashing, women are so down on men, and why aren't we having more discussions amongst brothers, right? The same way women should have more discussions amongst women. You know what I mean? There should be more accountability amongst the sexes, not just pointing the finger at each other.
Indeed.
Men ain't nothing. Women ain't, you know what I mean? Like, why are more men talking to men and more women talking to women, and we can come together? You know what I'm saying? But
because neither wants to, I'm gonna be honest, neither wants to really hear honesty from people that they actually respect and care about. We do, but we don't. Like, I'm lucky I have a circle of men around me, and I have some women around me that will tell me the truth at all costs. I can sit there and cry in their face, and they'll be like, oh, well, you need to hear it. That's just not what people want to hear. People really want to hear what's going to make them feel like they're not wrong in a situation. They've done what they're supposed to. They want somebody to be on their side. So when you start talking about having brothers hold each other accountable, having sisters hold each other accountable, that doesn't work, because the second something feels uncomfortable, people walk away. Oh, he don't know what he's talking about.
Bingo, you said the key word, feelings. All people care about is how they feel. And being right, you know what I mean? Being correct, they don't always feel good. But coming through it on the other side, you'll feel a lot better because you've grown from it. Everybody wants to just relish in their own nonsense and not grow. And like you said, nobody wants that level of accountability. So
at all. Whew. Well, later for them foods. Later for them foods. Today's show was supposed to be, we're talking about just finances overall. Ron, I met you, and I think I've probably seen you twice without a suit on. Every time I saw this guy, he wore a suit. We could be at a bar somewhere, Ron has on a suit, and he looks for like business, and he is always like ready for business. Was that part of your mentality? Just because, I mean, I know you wear suits a lot. You're the suit guy. My dad was a suit guy, so I get it.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's working in that environment and working around, just being professional. I've always liked it. Since I was a child, I always wore suits and dressed up. So that's just kind of me. But I just, I'm working around people that dealing in money and finance, you know, I
Mm-hmm.
found it easier to have conversations. I'd be more approachable as opposed to being dressed like this. You know what I'm
And what
saying?
does it say? Assets over
Assets over liabilities.
liabilities. Yeah, we need to explain what that is to some people still at this age, which is crazy. But we just, I guess, now we're moving into an age where we think, we're teaching kids younger financial responsibility and getting
All
them on.
time.
Our generation, we definitely were just thrown out there, handed a checkbook at 18 and said, here you go, have fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I remember I opened my account at 18. I got my little checkbook from the Department of Labor, and
Mm-hmm.
that was it. There was no teaching credit. There was no telling me what a debit card is, telling me about interest rates, telling me about paying off cards and stuff like that.
Right.
Now, I see a lot of people, like parents, getting their kids cards younger, debit cards, putting them on their own credit cards with them, just so they can establish credit,
Yep.
not putting bills in your kids' hands.
Yep.
But we're finally at a place now where kids are being more educated. And are you a proponent of teaching that in schools, or do you feel like it's something that should be taught at home?
It needs to be done both places. Both
Mhm.
places. At school and at home. Right.
Mhm.
Like I have a guy. He's kind of like a role model, like a mentor. And he was telling me
Okay.
how, like, when his kids, you know, like 5 and 6 years old, when they get allowance, he teaches them about, like, I may give them $100, but I'll tell them, look, out of this 100, you know, 10% has to go to you got to pay yourself, right?
Mhm.
10% goes to the household, 10%
Mhm.
goes to the church. So if you get $100, you only got 70, right? But that's
Right.
teaching them responsibility about you got to pay rent, you got to pay yourself, you got to
And you
pay
got to pay
rent,
attention.
right? And then, you know, and for those that are in the church, you got to tithe, right? So
Right.
we're teaching them how to save money early, right?
Mhm.
And then he also explained to me how when they're at home and they do the family budget, like monthly, him and his wife, they sit the
Yeah.
kids down. So that
That's
way the
crazy
kids,
because, as kids, we were never involved in finances.
right,
Like,
right,
listen, I remember growing up thinking that rent was $5,000 because that's just what I thought on my head. Like, I didn't know how it should cost $5,000. That's what it was to me back then. And it was nowhere near that. But I just didn't know, like, how much or how little my parents made, when I
right,
was growing up, and
right.
kept those
Like,
things from kids. You don't have those discussions with your kids.
right. But the thing is, we should have the discussions with our kids, teach them how money works, to show them, like, the real world. Like, when every time I get paid or something happens, you can't expect to get a pair of Jordans because we got this electric bill, we got this cable bill. Like, when kids understand how life works and how the household is run,
Mm-hmm.
they kind of get an idea of um what a dollar's really worth, right?
And then
So, like,
what they're asked for changes as well.
right,
That's
right,
crazy.
and the
I just watched
expectations change.
an episode of Blackish Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And the young girl on there, she was getting her allowance and she was buying some weird Beyonce doll where her mother was like, "You're wasting your money." It was like $100 doll or something crazy like that. And the
Mm-hmm.
mom was like, "You're wasting your money." But come to find out, she bought this doll to sell it for like 3 times its price. And she has like a whole account that she has for invested in some houses somewhere that her parents don't know about. These kids are way more literate than we give them credit for, and
Right.
then we think they are. You know what I mean? My niece was ecstatic to get a debit card when she turned 13. She was like, the day of her birthday, made my sister take off work and was like, "Can you take me to the bank so I can get mine?" Like, and she's that kid. She keeps up with every penny. Um, but
That's
there are a lot
awesome.
of adults that don't know how to teach these things
Yep.
to your kids because they don't have those tools. You know what I
Yep.
mean? I know so
Yep.
many live paycheck to paycheck, and not because they don't make the money. It's just they don't know how to manage it.
And
Um,
I was going to say that is key, right? A lot of us, particularly living in this area,
mm-hmm.
definitely make the money, right?
Oh yeah,
But the problem is, I think a lot of us, we become consumers to the point where we're all living above our means and we think that's normal,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's like, man, I'm barely scratching by. Well, why? Let's examine what you're doing and why you're scratching by and why you can't save. Is because we live this extravagant lifestyle. It's not really
Mm-hmm.
necessary, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Crazy.
really understanding. Yeah, well, I mean, we're spenders. Like, you know, we got to buy a $700,000 house because I make $100,000. No, you don't. We got to buy, you know, the wife got the BMW, the husband got the Benz, all the kids go to private school, and we got all this stuff. It looks great, but if one of y'all gets sick,
Yeah,
you're in trouble, right? So
That's the
why do we
key
live that
part.
way? But because we're trying to keep up with the Joneses and impress each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I
What's
think that's
the
part of the problem too.
one thing, like if you could suggest one thing that every person or every family should definitely invest in or place their money somewhere, what would it be?
Life insurance.
I know I love you because I knew you were going to say that. I just had a conversation with my mom and my grandmother because my grandmother's 87, and we sat together. You got to get those things lined up. Just times you never know. Especially now, people are kind of just dying unexpectedly. And I just saw a girl the other day that had a GoFundMe for her funeral expenses, and it's like, dog, like my credit union offers $5,000 of life insurance for every, I think, dollars or $5 or something crazy like that, like a month.
Mm-hmm.
And me, I'm single. I don't have children, so I don't need $400,000, $500,000 policy for what? To go to who?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I
Right.
think that's where people get mixed up. They want to have these $1 million policies, and it's just them. Or you have one child. My mother always said, "You're not gonna live off of me when I die." She tells me that all the time.
Right.
But she definitely has enough to bury her, pay her bills, and we'll live comfortably. But we're not living off of my mother passing, and I think that's where a lot of people mix up with this life insurance stuff. Sure, you don't want your family to have a burden, but you also don't need them living off your death either.
I mean, well, see, and that's like, we can kind of look at that two different ways, right? Because ideally, what's wrong with your children being a step ahead when you pass away?
Yeah.
Like, what's the negative connotation surrounding that, right? Like,
Depends on how much you're putting up for, how much you're paying for, and that's what because people they put too much into this life insurance stuff. I've seen it happen. They're paying like a $200 premium, and then one month something gets mixed up, and then they skip that month, and now they're all thrown off. You know what I mean? Because you're paying too much. You're putting too much expectation into this pot that you probably didn't need all of that. I know someone that bought a $5 million policy. Why do you need a $5 million insurance policy, but you're paying more than a car note every month for?
Right.
And then when that gets backed up, you get thrown off. So then now everything, you just wasted all this money basically. So, I mean, I just say, of course, you should be generous with it, but I don't think that you should just go crazy and have this crazy. So now your mate wants to kill you because you got a $2 million.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. Let's not get retarded, right? Like, now that's the thing about talking to a true financial professional. Because I'll sit down with you and we'll figure out a good number for you, right? Like for instance, people think about $1 million policy, right? Understand this: if you make $50,000 a year, right? You realize over 20 years you're worth $1 million to your family, right?
Correct.
So why would $1 million policy be too much?
Right. That's
See what I'm saying? So it's really about getting the perspective on life insurance. Like when you ask the average person what's their greatest asset, what do you think most people would say?
I don't know, like their house.
Right. That's exactly what most people would say. Something they own, right? But I would challenge you to say that your greatest asset is your ability to make money for your family. Right? You are your greatest asset. If you had a machine in your garage that printed out $100,000 a year, you would do everything in the world to protect it.
Absolutely.
So why would you not protect yourself? Like, you're that machine. Think about it. Like, what you provide for your family causes everything to function. So why would you not protect that asset? And why would you not protect it properly? So, like, for instance, like now I'm a newlywed. I'm married, right? So if my wife, thank you. So if my wife and I have children, right, and like say, I'm saving for them to go to college, right? So I've got a 529 plan set up. My wife and I have this house. We have all these things, and if something were to happen to me now, because my income is gone, everything gets derailed. No, I should have something in place. So my family losing me is going to be tragic enough.
Absolutely.
But they shouldn't have to lose everything else, right? Like, they shouldn't have to lose their house. She shouldn't have to worry about, paying for the education, because the money should still be coming in to be able to fund that, right? So I buy enough insurance on me, so if something were to happen, they could still go on for X amount of years or whatever.
I think here's another part of the problem is we are waiting a little later to get married. And then as people are so concerned about combining finances or having to talk about finances prior to marriage, that it tends to get an oversight. And I think finance is probably one of the first things you should talk about if you're discussing marriage.
Oh
But
yeah,
that's me personally. But there's so many people that just don't discuss money.
yeah.
They don't discuss any of that. And then they just expect, boom, he had it before me or she had it before I came along, that it's supposed to stay that way when you're combining. So things are going to increase. Your utilities increase, your groceries increase, your house might increase. You know what I mean?
Or
So
decrease if somebody got bad credit. You know what I'm saying? Right. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, finances is the biggest reason for divorce in this country. Not infidelity, money. People break up because of money. So I think we should have them conversations. Say, what's your credit score? What are your goals and dreams? Like, what assets do you have? Do you have a 401k? What's in your retirement plan? Like, we should have those conversations. But I think as a culture, Josh, if we can be honest, money's a taboo conversation. Like even when groups of us get together, right? Like, we sit around talking about money and like, oh, that nigga think he like that. Who he think he is? Like, you can't discuss money. Like, if I'm around somebody and they're talking about something they're doing, I want to learn about it, right? I'm trying to get better, right? But we make money a taboo thing, right? Like
Dave Chappelle said, you could talk about literally, or Chris Rock, having sex with your partner anally. Like, you can talk about anything in the room, but you can't talk about finances and money. I mean, finances and politics with other people. And I guess once we start making it so taboo, people wouldn't be in the situations they are. They wouldn't be afraid to talk about these things. They won't be afraid or ashamed, because I talk to my friends, and so many of us were in the same boat. We all had those finger hut bills from 1995 that we didn't pay.
We didn't learn about credit, right? We didn't learn about it.
You know what I mean? Get this finger hut and get these pans that I'm never going to pay for. And so that's sitting on there and just lingering off, or that whole I'll let it drop off thing. And again, I worked in the mortgage industry early, so I saw the importance of credit very young. I was 23 years old working in a loan processor. So I saw what credit can get you and how you can get into a house with nothing down. You know what I mean? Having the right credit and having a decent payment. But so many people don't get that opportunity. So many people are literally 40 years old just trying to get their stuff together now.
Yeah, well, because like you said, it was a lack of education. It wasn't passed on to us. You know what I mean? Like, our parents didn't teach us about it. Like our parents, you get old enough, 18, you go get a job, you put money in your 401k, whatever it is, and you retire. But they don't tell us how much money is going into that 401k. Are we putting enough in it to make sure that we have enough for when we retire? Because one thing I say to a lot of people is this: it's one thing to get to 65 and want to still work. It's another thing to get there and have no choice.
Yeah.
Right.
My
mom
and grandmother both retired at 49 and 50 years old. My mother retired from Verizon at 49, and she had 30 years under her belt.
She had a pension, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she couldn't stay home though. Like, for her, it was, I didn't want to stay home. So she went back to work elsewhere. She actually went back to Verizon for like 5 years as a contractor.
Awesome.
But got that money. Yeah, right.
They probably made more money as a contractor.
It's the exact same office. That's the crazy thing. But I think, like you said, having to work and wanting to work are two different things. Like, like right now, I got to get up every day and go. Like, but her knowing that if she don't want to, she don't have to. I can't wait to get there.
Right. But we got to make sure that we have a plan in place to ensure that we do get there. Right.
But what's crazy, you remember your first job and you're filling out all the paper, your first real job where they give you like your 401k and your life insurance and your benefits and all. And you're just signing away your stuff and have no idea what you're signing up for. You're like, oh, this sounds good. This sounds good. $50, yep, take that. $35, here, take that. Like, it sounds good, but you really don't know what you're signing up for. And I think people are afraid to ask for help or, say to their friends, I don't know what the hell this is.
Right. Well, here's the thing too with us, right? I've been in this business about 8 years now, right? Like, so how you said you started in the mortgage industry young, right? Yeah. So back in like high school, when everybody got like their first summer job at McDonald's or up against the wall, I was in the credit union. Cause my
first job was in a credit union.
Yeah, like my mom just retired. She was the CEO of a credit union. But like my summer jobs were literally spent as a teller, loan officer, member services. So like from 15 on up, this is what I've been doing, right? But yeah. So we kind of had an understanding of it. But for what you were saying about our first jobs, we were never taught like about the importance of putting money in a 401k, making sure we put enough money in the match. All we cared about was how much money we're bringing home.
Right. Yep.
Right.
How much is that going to affect my check on Friday?
Right. Right.
That's it.
Right. Not thinking about when I get 60, how much money am I going to have in the bank to live off of when I don't feel like going to work no more. We don't think about that. It's just like I tell people all the time, like, if your job matches, at minimum, at least put what they match in there.
Exactly.
Take that free money.
That's free money.
That's free money, right? Like, don't discount the freeness, right?
Because you're working for it.
Yep. And then also, if you got enough money to start a Roth IRA.
Yep.
Because what you want to think about is that's tax free later on in life, right? We got to think about taxes. But again, this is stuff that we don't really know and we aren't taught. But like, I talk to a lot of my younger clients now about that. I also tell young people, Google compound interest. Google it. Utilize it, because compound interest is something that you're going to need. And anytime you put money in to something like a Roth IRA that builds compound interest, you see what I'm saying? It grows exponentially. It's not just interest on this, it's interest on all the money you put in every year. You know what I mean? That's something else we need to have conversations about.
So where do people go to get this information? Because again, they are making a lot more money. We are making a lot more money than our parents were making, for the most part, but we just don't know what to do with it. Where does a person start? Like someone say 45 years old, they're making $100 and some odd $1,000. They're living okay, but they're like, I have this money that is sitting here. What do I do to plan for my future?
Well, there are a lot of things, a lot of people find stuff online, and online is cool. You know what I mean? Like if you're one of those self-starters and self-motivators and you think you have the discipline to do so, you can go online. But it's a shameless plug. I'm always available. I love to have conversations with people, right? I take clients on all the time. But yeah, like that's another stigma, is that when we hear financial planning, we think that it's going to cost you a lot of money.
Yes.
It doesn't cost to have a conversation, right? Like I like to sit down with people. We'll talk about your goals, what it is you're looking to accomplish, right? Where you want to be in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years. What do you have in place now, right? It's just a conversation, like, and figure out what it is you want to do, what you're doing now, and maybe there are ways I can help you, right? That's all it is. It's just a consultation and a conversation.
I think people just need to take the shame and get comfortable, because a lot of people are ashamed of not knowing.
Right.
Or the mistakes that they've made in the past.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And there's a lot of pride. You know what I mean? But pride goes before the fall. You keep being prideful, you're going to fall apart. Right. There's no shame in having a conversation with someone that can help you. You know what I mean? And it's okay to know that you don't know. Right. That should be okay. And so we got to get out of that stigma of being ashamed and get the help and get the information, and not, because it's out there and we can all do better. You know what I mean? Like I'm blessed to work for Mass Mutual, one of the biggest firms, one of the biggest mutual companies out there, right? I also know that I don't have the answers, but that's why I can bring in somebody else from the firm. You know what I mean? Like I work with guys that have more experience than me, because I want to make sure I take care of my client, right? I'm also a fiduciary, so whatever you share with me, like, it stays with me, right? But we got to learn how to trust one another more. And what I find is that we don't trust each other, but I understand it, because we've been burnt. We've been burnt by our own so much when it comes to these kind of things, and this business in particular and finances. So I get it, right?
It's wild that we're more comfortable going to some guy whose last name is Steen or Goldberg or Rothstein or, some Jewish guy, because we feel that they have our best interest, when a lot of times their best interest is really what's there. You know what I mean? Right. And we don't go to our own, like I said, for fear of being looked down upon or things like that. Whereas, what do you think someone else is going to do? Which is crazy.
They're already looking down upon us, right? So, like,
it's crazy to me.
Yeah, I would think that we would trust each other more, but the fact is that we don't. But again, that's another stigma that I think we can break, right? But again, and I'll say this, not just about myself, but because I'm not the only African-American advisor or planner out here. But when you talk to somebody, make sure that they're talking to you about you and not about product, right? Like, if someone's talking product, you need to run immediately, because they're trying to sell you something, right? Whereas I believe that not trying to help you, right? And I tell people all the time, like, particularly life insurance, well, in any financial planning, but life insurance in particular is not one size fits all. What your girlfriend has may not be the best thing for you, right? So we got to make sure that we have someone that's going to put us in the best position to win. So that's always what I say. Like, if you don't want to talk to me, that's fine, but talk to somebody that cares about you. You know what I mean? And not someone just trying to sell you a product.
Yeah, for sure. Because I've definitely been through the whole product thing where they're literally just pulling out a folder and going down all these plans. And I'm like, but that doesn't pertain to me because I'm 43 and I don't have kids and I'm not married and I don't have this, that, and third. So why are you showing me these things that mean absolutely nothing to me? But
right. So like my conversation with you was someone that's single, right? No children. Again, okay, so what do you look to? What do you want to accomplish, right? Is there anybody in your life that if something were to happen, that you want to leave something to? Like, who's important to you? Right. Or more importantly, like, what's your investment portfolio look like?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because now we can talk about where you're putting your money at, right? Because you want to have a balanced portfolio. You want to have some stuff that you're actually gambling with. You know what I mean? And then you want to have some stuff that's going to be safe, that you know is automatically going to make you money, you know, low, slow, steady. So now we talk about various things of that nature, right? And there are some actuarial science products that could fit. That's not all based upon the market. So it'd be something else that we can look at for you. You see what I'm saying? So like life insurance could benefit you also.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, I have a policy. It's just not ginormous. I'm going to get buried well, and my stuff is going to get paid off, and that's fine. But again, if I think to get married, I'll increase it and whatever. But,
and you know, permanent policies, because there's a cash value aspect of some life insurance too, where you can actually put money in it and allows you to pull money out and borrow against it, or you can use it for your retirement later on. Or I have clients that are going to pay for college for their kids using life insurance. Right. Because you know, so like there is a myriad of ways to use the product. Right.
Yeah. It's so cool now though to see people that look like me interested in stocks and interested in money and things like that. Like, cause again, in the 90s, that shit was left up to Wall Street and Charlie Sheen. You know what I mean? We didn't talk about these things.
And Gordon Gekko. Read is good.
We didn't talk about these things. We talked about buying Benzes and Audis and maybe putting some money under a mattress. But now, I mean, I have a cousin that sits on Wall Street. He's a Wall Street advisor. So I have people that literally look like me and are aggressively trading and aggressively investing. And that's so like cool to see now. And especially even for kids to see, it's just something different. They have little things for kids now. So that's
I'm actually in the process of getting my license too. I want to get my license so I can actually do that. I'm not a trader, but right. I mean, but to be able to manage the portfolios fully, you know what I mean? So I definitely want to do that. It's great that we're actually getting more involved in that. Like, you know, one of the biggest myths that we were told as Black folks is that if you work hard, then you can become wealthy, and that ain't it, right?
Not at all.
No. You put your money to work.
Exactly. Work smarter, not harder.
Right. That's how you build wealth, when your money's working for you. Not you going, because I know jokers, man. We know people that's working 2 and 3 jobs and still broke. Right?
Cool.
Right. You know what I mean? So hard working ain't really it. It's just working smart and understanding what to do with your money to make it work for you. Right. So and like I said, I'm encouraged, man. Like even seeing the whole GameStop thing. Like, you know, seeing that, right? Even for people that didn't know, I saw a lot more of us researching it. And like now,
jumping in on it. Robinhood.
And I see a whole lot of us now with our own little stock portfolios. And we're learning about it, and we're getting involved. The thing is, though, to keep learning, because understand this, they're gonna move the goalposts again. Right?
Money doesn't
right. But just stay hip on the game, because when the regular man starts making money on Wall Street,
time to change up.
Trust they're gonna change something up. So the key is to make sure that we are staying abreast of what's going on, and like find some of these guys. Like I got this sweatshirt from these guys called Earn Your Leisure, right? They do podcasts on YouTube, right? And they give a lot of financial advice about the market. They talk about real estate. You know what I mean? Like real estate investing. Like, we got to stay on top of these things, man, and get more into it because the money's out there. It's just a matter of us broadening our horizons and seeing that it's not just about Jordans and Benzes, right? It's not about those things. Like, it's about creating assets and building a legacy to lead to our families. Like, what's wrong with us creating generational wealth? Right? Like, like you said it earlier, my kids not gonna live off of me. But that's what they've been doing for generations.
Yeah.
But they've been teaching their kids how to do it, right? That's how family names live on. What's wrong with us to start? Why should we not be the ones starting our own family names? Whether it be through real estate investing or you may start a business, you pass it on to your kids, right? And then, but you teach them about how your investments works. Or like, say you may have a niece or nephew, right? You may leave something to, right? You and I do a plan. You leave something to them. God forbid something happened to you. I go to them. I say, okay, look, this is what Aunt Josh did, right? She set this up for you. This is how much money she left you. But let me show you. All right. Look, take this 50,000 and blow it. That's what you're going to do anyway. But the rest of it, let me show you what she did so you can leave your kids in a better position.
Right.
And
that's huge.
We should be having those conversations, right? You should not be starting over every generation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you start, it's like, so Auntie Dad, okay, now it's time to just go bury her and go buy a car. Like, no, like,
I'm gonna go buy this car. We're gonna take her house. We're gonna sell the house.
Master P, he gets on my last nerve, but I love his hustle. He took $10,000 and opened a record store, and then just from that, it's crazy. You know what I mean? But I think, again, we're not risk takers as much as we should be. We risk our lives with so many things, but we don't take certain risks sometimes that I think we need to take. And we're scared.
We weren't taught it. We were taught to be workers. Whereas other ethnicities were taught to be job creators. Right? And creating jobs requires risk. Like, we're finally becoming, you're seeing more of us become entrepreneurs, and our kids are becoming entrepreneurs, and that's beautiful, right? But I remember conversations with my parents. Dude, what are you doing? You need to get a job.
Right.
That's not gonna pay you. You need to get a job with benefits. You know what I mean?
Pay the bills.
Right. Like, because they weren't taught to create jobs, right? They were taught to work with somebody else and make them rich, as opposed to, why aren't we out being the ones to create the job and create our own legacies and create our own wealth, right? We build something and make people come work for us.
Yeah.
See, but we weren't taught that. But that's something that other cultures were taught.
Right. Again, because look at what they came from. So it kind of just, again, trickles down from generation to generation. Right. Unless the family was that family that owned businesses, it just was not. Again, my grandmother worked for government for 30 plus years, and then my mom worked for Verizon. She started at Verizon fresh out of high school and was there until, like I said, 30 years, until she was 49. So it was just work. You know what I mean? But now you do have this luxury, and you have so many people's kids having businesses, and kids are trying to make their mark right now, and kids are getting into investing and things like that. So I think there is a shift and a change coming, and we just got to stay on top of that change,
Right. I'm with you. I think it's a beautiful thing, Josh. You know what I mean? I just again, I want to encourage and push it more, right? Because we're still so far behind the 8 ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I understand, like, we need to get into, well, I think for us as African Americans, we need to get back to being a community, right? Becoming, we talk about community investment, right? Like, why aren't we owning our own communities? You know what I mean? Like, why aren't our Black dollars circulating and making more of us money? You know what I mean?
Saw somewhere, I can't remember where it was. It's somewhere in the South, and they were fighting for getting a decent grocery store in their area. And it was a rundown neighborhood or whatever. And they were just fighting to get a good grocery store, and they couldn't do it. So the community, the people, the poor people, so-called poor people, they put all their money together and they opened up their own grocery store in their neighborhood for them. And it probably took like 20, 30 people to own it, but that's not ideal. But if that's what has to happen, that's what we need to do. But again, we're not trusting enough of each other.
Right.
Especially when we start talking money.
Right.
You're like,
and we're not we don't think long term a lot of times. Like,
Right.
so I had an idea. I had an idea. You know, I was thinking about it. Like, I had a client. He's an athlete, but you got all these multimillionaire athletes, right? Why don't they go back and like buy the communities they came from? Think about it. Like, you know, you see like a shopping mall for sale, buy it, right? Then you can dictate. You can put a black grocery store in there. You can put a health food store in there, right? Like, but not only that, you know, we put black folk in there. Now our black dollars are circulating, right? Now we have black-owned grocery store, black-owned beauty supply store. We don't have a carry-out. We don't want carry-out food. We want somebody to look like us selling us some healthier options, right? But, you know, that ownership of the community, that also gives us a voice, because now when the local governments come to play, or like, we want to bring in this, now we got a seat at the table because we own the property. So now we can kind of tell you no, you're not bringing out in our neighborhood no more. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need no more liquor stores, bro. We don't need that, right? Like, if we started taking more ownership of our communities, then that would give us a bigger seat at the table, right? But all we think about is, you know, the fast flip, right? But this is a long-term play. If you buy multiple shopping malls, that's something you can leave to your family, right? That's millions of dollars. You know what I mean? That's an asset.
Yeah.
And I think we need to think more like that. You know what I mean? Like, buy the apartment buildings in your neighborhood, buy them, rent them out. You know, more of us need to take ownership of our communities. That'll give us more say. You know, yeah, I just think because there is black money out there, we're just not circulating it.
Oh, you know we definitely spend. We spend ridiculously. You ask Jordan, ask Hennessy, ask Gucci, who buys their stuff. We definitely spend. We just don't spend within ourselves a lot of times. But I think there's a shift again that we're not given credit for. We are starting to be more conscious of where we spend our money. I see it a lot. I see a lot more people, and we don't give them that credit. We don't give, put that out there as much. But we definitely are becoming more conscious. We will drive a little bit further to the black-owned store. I do see a lot of people shouting out black-owned businesses a little bit more.
I do too. I love it.
In the years before. And I think now is definitely the time to start it, get it going or whatever while we're home and depending on someone else for it. Why not go ahead and start something? So, but we're seeing a little bit more, and just hopefully people will continue to support it. I'm with just you. Real quick, what's your thought on these stimulus checks and the stimulus packages where people are getting thousands and thousands of dollars, and multiple thousands if you have multiple kids? And is it really stimulating the economy the way it was intended to? Like, do you think it was or is?
My thoughts on it are it's great for the people that needed it. If there is a true need and they're really putting in the funds where it needs to go, right? I think
it's crazy.
Right. I mean
$1,400 in every 3, 4, 5, 6 months is not. Yeah.
I mean, it's not enough money for anything. Like, let's keep it simple, right? It's not enough money to take care of us, especially when you see other countries like Canada and what they were doing for their people every month, giving them money during the pandemic. And America just greedy. Like, let's just call it what it is, right? So it wasn't enough money, but I think it's going to stimulate the economy because somebody's making money off of it.
People definitely making money, even if it's the crab leg industry. And
Jeff Bezos came off like the mob when Amazon blew up. Yeah, it blew up.
My goodness. Right. And that's the thing. We need our own Amazon. We need these things that we know we're going to spend on. We know we're going to buy these things. And so just
but if you took that $1,400 and bought your child, like if you got $1,400 per child and you took some of that money and you bought your child a life insurance policy, a permanent life insurance policy they have the rest of their life, you did something good with the money. If you had a child and you opened up, your child's like 16 and you opened up a Roth IRA and you put money into that, and that's going to grow for him because of the compound interest, that's good. If you took your money and you bought some stock in something that you utilized, you did something good with the money. You know what I mean? But if you wouldn't have stood in line at the Gucci store, you know what I mean? Like, you probably done good with the money. I mean, unless of course you got it. I'm not knocking anybody that shops high end because I admit
life things, okay?
I admit I do it. You know what I mean? But it's responsible. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't go out and spend my last on it, right? So I mean, Josh, like that's if you needed it and you did the right thing with it and you bought groceries and food for your kids, God bless you. But if you just took the money and went out, you know what I mean, and went grocery shopping, then you stimulated the economy.
In Miami.
Right. I mean, you stimulated the economy. So it did what it's supposed to do. Right.
I suppose, I guess. What is the biggest, we talked about the easiest thing. What do you think is the biggest financial mistake people make?
Living above our means.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like just practically speaking, like trying to impress other people, right? Like not really understanding what quality of life is. I think that's the biggest mistake. Like, you know, because let me say it like this: because you make more, because you make more, you spend more. I think that's the biggest mistake people make.
Oh, all the time. Listen, let me get a few extra dollars.
It's not what you make; it's what you keep.
Yes, now that should be on a shirt.
Right.
Because we definitely know how to spend.
Absolutely.
I mean, she definitely would get an extra couple $100 and it's gone. Like,
right. So living above our means and overspending, I think is the biggest mistake that we make. Like not thinking about the future. I think, unfortunately, as African Americans, we have this live for today because tomorrow's not promised mentality.
Yes, indeed.
You know what I mean? And it's kind of a problem as it relates to, saving, particularly with money. Tomorrow ain't promised to me. Nah, bro, but you still should save for it. Cause what's gonna happen when tomorrow shows up? Right? Tomorrow ain't promised.
Like, whoa.
Right. But when it gets here, then what? You know what I mean? So I think we got to kind of start being more strategic and really start thinking about our futures and planning for it, because we just don't do it. We just so stuck on living for the day, living in the moment. You know what I mean? Living the now.
And I think people are almost disheartened about living old, to be old. It's weird because I want to be like 100, but I got people that literally don't think they're going to be here past 50 and 60. Like, I want to be here at 100, getting on somebody's nerves because they got to come feed me soup in my house that's paid for. You know what I mean? But I think that's a lot of it too. It's just people just are disheartened about how long that we actually live. I think that a lot of people know that we're unhealthy, that we aren't living great. Then go, well, fuck it, I'll be dead by 65. Just put me in a box and keep it moving. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, like we gotta, like, health is wealth. You know what I mean? Like, you're wealthy. You know what I mean? Like, health is wealth. You know what I mean? Like, taking care of yourself, being here to see your grandchildren, right? You know what I mean? To give them good advice. Like, these are things that we should be striving to do. I think. I don't know, Josh. It's like everybody's in this self-gratification.
Always.
Right? and not about, like, we don't think legacy. Right? Like, what's your name gonna mean 20 years after you're dead? What's your legacy gonna be? Right? Like, can your grandkids say, "Yeah, my granddad did this."
Right?
Or I gotta carry on what my granddad started. Do we ever think about that? You know what I mean? And wealth isn't just money. It's also information. It's also resources. It's also connections. You know what I mean? All these things that we can give, not necessarily tied to money, but money plays a part. You know what I mean? So I think we just got to change the mindset of a lot of us and start thinking about what we're going to leave behind.
Indeed. Well, I think that you are a very wealthy guy. If wealth is more than just money, I think it is knowledge. I think you are a very wealthy guy and very fortunate. Again, I just wanted to congratulate you on your past weekend nuptials.
Thank you.
Married now. Hope you got those life insurance policies together.
Oh yeah. Before we got married.
I know you did though. That's we got another few minutes though. Like, okay, so we're talking relationships now. When you're moving into that phase, should you wait until you get like married, tie the knot to start talking about insurance policies and things like that with your mate?
No. Her and I actually talked about it like we were maybe about 5-6 months in.
Mm-hmm.
And we discussed like our credit reports. Like I pulled mine, she pulled hers.
Y'all sat there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about our debt. You know, we talked about what we both wanted to do from a goal perspective, where we both wanted to be. Her credit was way better than mine. You know what I mean? Because I was the wild and reckless one. I mean, you know, and the thing is, right. I mean, but the thing about it is, like, she knew and still loved me because she saw where I was at now, right, and where I was going. So, like, I wasn't trying to live in that position. So, yeah, we talked about that stuff early, like about 5-6 months in. But I think it's because we both kind of knew what we wanted. You know what I mean? So we were both dating with that purpose. We weren't just kind of hanging out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
you knew where it was going to lead, so you were okay having those conversations, or where you hoped it thought it would lead. So that conversation wasn't hard.
And I ain't say that. It was uncomfortable as hell for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it real, right? It wasn't the most comfortable thing for me to do. But
yeah, because you got all your shit laid on the table. Like
literally, all your shit is right there. Like, this is me. Like, yeah, it all looks good on the surface, but on paper, you know, but she still loved me anyway.
In 05, like, forgot about
that. Yeah, but we definitely put it out there early. You know what I mean? And I think that some people, again, if you're dating with the purpose, though, right? So we can talk about how you date and what you're doing, right? So yeah, for us, it was a no-brainer, Josh. Like, it was a no-brainer. We were going through her life insurance stuff, and I saw what she had. I didn't like it.
Okay, so, see, for you like, oh, this is trash. Like,
so we replaced it. Right. So we replaced it, and we saw what I had wasn't enough. So I got some more. But now that we're married, when we buy a house, we're probably gonna get some more. There's probably gonna be some things I'm gonna have to do. As far as like just shifting the portfolio, because now it's not about me. But yeah, we definitely had a conversation. I think, like we said earlier, more Black folks talk about money, man.
Yes.
And it's about how much money he makes.
No, absolutely. What are your goals? Where's your debt? What are you trying to do with this? Like, I get it. I totally get it. But again, we got to stop being scared. You can ask me my favorite position, but I can't ask you your credit score. That's crazy to me.
Right. Look, and here's the funny part, right? Like, so.
Well, excuse me, sir. Do you have a 401k? Like,
absolutely. So, my wife is funny. Like, my wife, she's like, I don't want to spend more than this for a mortgage. I'm like, well, babe, we can get. She's like, wrong, no, because see, I'm a spender, right? I have no problem with, you know what I mean. I want it, I got it, go get it, right? Or how much it costs. All right, let me figure out I'll make it happen. I'm gonna make it happen. She's more of a planner, right? And that's why I know she's perfect for me, because I'm a fly by the seat of my pants guy, right? You know what I mean? But I know if I listen to her, how much better things are going to be. I can go out here and make
Say that one more time for the people in the back. If you what?
If I listen to her, right? Like, understand, like, as the leader, as the leader of the family, I have a vision. I know where I want to go. I know where I want to take us, right? So my vision is, and she's great with that. But, hey, babe. So look, I'm thinking I'm gonna make this move. No, wrong. Wait a minute. Think about it. Did you pray about it? What do you think? You're like, and I know I'm gonna go to her before I make any kind of move, because
you're a unit,
right? But not only that, financially, she is rock solid. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna trust her.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I think that's important too. You know what I mean? Like, I got somebody I know I can trust with everything, right? But she's gonna trust me. She's gonna follow my lead. But I'm not gonna really move too fast without consulting with the queen. You know what I mean? There's a reason why. There's a reason why on the chessboard the king can only go in one direction, but the queen can go everywhere.
That's all that needs to be said. Listen, y'all know. This is a wealthy guy talking right now.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, Yeah. Trust your queen, dog. But make sure you got a queen.
Yeah, thank you first. Don't just go trusting anybody.
Yeah.
And then also find you a nice financial planner, financial advisor,
Absolutely.
all that good stuff, like ASAP, people, because most of us would be lost and have no idea what we're doing without it. Just it's okay to need help. It's okay to talk to somebody. This is my guy, Ron Blackwell. Mr. Blackwell, what's your IG and Facebook information, just in case anyone wanted to hit you up with questions?
Well, my Facebook is Ron Blackwell. I have my personal page, and it's Ron Blackwell, financial planner with Mass Mutual, my business page. My IG is at Ron Black, at RONBLAKK. I can also be found on where else am I at? I'm on the other one too. What's the one? Twitter. I'm on Twitter, not there much. I can be found on LinkedIn, Ron Blackwell. I'm on LinkedIn as well. All my information is on my Facebook page, so everybody can just feel free to hit me up. Let's have a conversation.
No, because we need to get this started. If y'all can't find them, hit me up. Hit up Logical Speaking, and then we'll point you in the right directions. So absolutely. Thank you so much, Ron. Again, congratulations on your past nuptials. Thank you so much for coming by, dropping some knowledge. We definitely got to have you back, and we will see you guys soon.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Josh.
All right. Logically Speaking, we are out.